How's it going, everybody? C-RadTV back here in our video. So, of course, we're into the next round of the NFL playoffs. We're in the divisional round of the playoffs. We completed the wild card round. So now we're in the divisional round, which means it's time for the divisional round picks for the playoffs. So, time to predict the 4 games that will take place this weekend in the divisional round to see who advanced the AFC and the NFC championship games and get one step closer to playing for the 57th Lombardi Trophy. So, of course, last week in the wild card round, I went 5-1 in the wild card round with my picks. So, my record this year goes to 180, 95, and 2. So, yeah, let's see how the divisional round goes. We'll go through each game individually, one by one, and let's see how this week how this divisional round shapes up. Let's go. So, to our first divisional round matchup that takes place Saturday afternoon, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, Kansas City Chiefs playing in Arrowhead. Kansas City is favored by 9 points in this game. Kansas City, they lead the all-time series on Jacksonville 8-6, and this is the first ever playoff meeting between these two teams. So for Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, he's questionable with a toe injury, and Jamal Agnew is questionable with a shoulder injury. Kansas City, Frank Clark questionable with a groin injury, and Mecole Hardman's also questionable with a pelvis injury. Jacksonville's 4-5 on the road this year. Kansas City is 7-1 at home this year. Jacksonville, though, they did come off that impressive win against the Chargers, where they were able to come back from a 27-0 deficit to win. I'll just say this, though. You pull that kind of crap against the Chiefs, you aren't coming back this time. And of course, Kansas City had the round 1 bye. But yeah, that was a very impressive win by Jacksonville. And, come back from 27 down, especially after the shitty first half of Trevor Lawrence played, and then he bounced right back, That speaks a lot, and it shows that this team can handle adversity. Like, I say regardless of what happens from here on out, Jacksonville Jaguar fans should be proud of their season. And I don't feel like this is going to be a flash in the pan like 2017. I think this is going to become a new norm for Jacksonville, and I think that division runs through Jacksonville from here for the next 5 years, since everybody else sucks in that division. But yeah, Jacksonville, though, I think Jacksonville is going to play a hard game against Kansas City. Like, don't get fooled by that spread. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people think, but to be honest, Jacksonville gives it their all, but in the end, I feel like the Chiefs will win this game. I don't think they covered a 9-point spread. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win 24-20. I think Chiefs will win by 4 over Jacksonville, so I'll take Kansas City to move on. But Jaguar fans, be proud of your season. Alright, so to our next playoff matchup, which takes place on Saturday night. We got the New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles playing in Philadelphia at the Link. Philadelphia's favored in this game by 7.5 points. Philadelphia, they lead the all-time series over the Giants 91-87-2. And both teams have had 4 playoff meetings between the two. This will be their 5th playoff meeting. In the 4 previous meetings, both teams have won 2 meetings apiece, so it's a 2-2 split, which means this game is the rubber match between these two teams. And of course, Philadelphia, they swept the season series over the Giants, including a win in Week 18. A lot of people have questions about that game because of how the Eagles played when the Giants had their second and third stringers in. But I feel like Philadelphia knew that situation. They just used that game as a test and tune-up session for the playoffs. But, given the history of this rivalry, don't get fooled by that 7.5-point spread. I think this game's going to be a hell of a lot closer than people will think, because this Giants team somehow manages to surprise everybody. Of course, for the Giants, Landon Collins is questionable with an ankle injury. Isaiah Hodgins is also questionable with an ankle injury. For the Eagles, Robert Quinn's questionable with a back injury. Brandon Graham is questionable with an illness. And Avonte Maddox is questionable with a toe injury. The Giants, they're coming off a big upset win against Minnesota in the wild card round. Giants are 4-4 on the road this year, and the Eagles are 7-2 at home this year. So Giants have not really played that well on the road, excluding last week. But the Eagles have always played well at home, and you get a home playoff game in Philadelphia in that environment. Gonna be tough to beat Philadelphia in that environment in the playoffs. But yeah, I do think Philadelphia wins this game. I think the Giants will keep it close, but I think Philadelphia was the better team over the Giants. I'm going to take Philadelphia to win 20-19. I think the Eagles win by 1 point. I don't think Eagles cover the spread. I think the Eagles win by a point. I think it's going to be very close. I think it's going to come down to a last-second field goal to decide the game. But yeah, give me Philadelphia to advance to the divisional round, to the NFC Championship game. All right, to our next game, which takes place on Sunday afternoon. A collision course we've all seen coming from a mile away. Cincinnati Bengals, Buffalo Bills playing in Buffalo. The Bills are favored in this game by 5.5 points. Buffalo, they lead the all-time series over Cincinnati 17-15. This will be the third playoff meeting ever between these two teams. In the previous two meetings, Cincinnati won both of them because they were both AFC Championship games in the 80s. So yeah, Cincinnati's undefeated against the Bills in the playoffs. And of course, these two teams did meet in the regular season, but that game was ruled a no contest because of the tragic events involving Damar Hamlin. If anyone's wondering, Damar Hamlin is actually recovering very, very well. I actually forget where his toy drive fundraiser is. It's probably over 10 million maybe at this point. I mean, if somebody knows what the toy drive's at, say in the comments if I'm wrong, if it's 10 million or higher or what. I know last I checked it was over 8 million. Like, it raised a lot of money, the bottom line. But yeah, these two teams meet again. And hopefully this time there are no tragedies this time. And hopefully this time we have a winner. So yeah, of course, Cincinnati has no key injuries in this game. But Buffalo, Jordan Poyer is questionable with a knee injury. Daquan Jones is questionable with a calf injury. Jordan Phillips is questionable with a shoulder injury, and Dane Jackson's questionable with a knee injury. Cincinnati, they're 6-3 on the road, and Buffalo 7-1 at home. Cincinnati's a good road team, and Buffalo's a good home team. So this is a big collision course. Like, to be perfectly honest, I think whoever wins this game would represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Because I think both these teams can go beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Or hell, even the Jaguars. If Jacksonville somehow does the impossible and beats Kansas City. Like, can Jacksonville possibly do it? Maybe, but I have my doubts. I highly doubt it. But I'll be surprised if Jacksonville beats Kansas City. But yeah, this game, this is a very tough game. It could go either way. In the end, though, I feel like the Bengals will put up as big of a fight as they can, but in the end, I just feel like Buffalo is a better overall team on both sides of the ball than Cincinnati. You know, Cincinnati's been red hot, like they haven't lost a game since Halloween, but all streaks must come to an end, and I feel like this is where Cincinnati's impressive run comes to an end. Like, I mean, it's very hard to replicate the run Cincinnati had last year, 2 years in a row. I think Buffalo beats the Chiefs, the Bengals in this one. I got Buffalo 25-16. So I'm going to take Buffalo to win and to cover the spread. So I'll take Buffalo plus the 5.5 point spread. So yeah, I'll take Bills to cover. But yeah, give me the Bills to advance the AFC Championship game. And now to our final divisional round game, our final game this week, taking place Sunday evening. We have the Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers playing in Santa Clara. A rematch of last year's wild card matchup between these two teams. San Francisco is favored in this game by 3.5 points. Dallas leads the all-time series over San Francisco 19-18-1. And this is the 9th playoff meeting between these two teams in the playoffs. Dallas, in the previous 8, Dallas leads the playoff series 5-3. And of course, San Francisco beat them in the playoffs last year. So can San Francisco do it 2 years in a row? Well, we'll see. Of course, Dallas, they're coming off a road win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. And of course, that's Dallas's first road playoff win since 1992. And that potentially could be Brady's final game in a Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform. Whether he retires or if he goes back to New England or goes to the Raiders, we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, of course, for Dallas, they don't have Jaden Kearse. He's questionable with an MCL injury. And the 49ers, Javon Kinlaw is questionable with a knee injury. And Ambry Thomas is questionable with an ankle injury. And of course, 49ers are the hottest team in the playoffs. Like, they entered the playoffs winning 10 in a row. They had a home play. They won their wild card game last week against Seattle. And And Dallas, they beat Tampa Bay on the road, but Tampa Bay was a pretty shit team. That's just kind of Dak Prescott in a nutshell. He always does well against shit teams, but he always does bad against good teams. And the Cowboys, they're 4-4 on the road. San Francisco's 8-1 at home. Like, Dallas has not been a good road team. San Francisco's been damn dominant at home. So I feel like Dallas will keep it close with San Francisco, but San Francisco is gonna be way too much for the Cowboys to handle. Like we saw with Brock Purdy last week in the wild card round, how he would handle the playoff pressure, and he handled it very well. Like he passed the test against Seattle. So yeah, I'm gonna take San Francisco to win this one, 25-21. I'm gonna take San Francisco to win, and I think they will cover the spread. So I'll take San Francisco plus the 3.5 points. So give me Niners plus the points, and I have the Niners advancing to the NFC Championship game. So my AFC Championship prediction is Kansas City versus Buffalo, and my NFC is Philadelphia versus San Francisco. It's the same games I had in my playoff bracket last week, and I'm sticking with that prediction. So my AFC and NFC Championship predictions remain unchanged. But yeah, anyway, those are my divisional round picks. That's all I got to say, and I'm out.